Let's talk a little about these two paths on either side of the dividing sword of truth, in a context mostly of current times occurring on Earth. There are many ways that the two paths can be compared, divided, shown, but to try to take a broader stroke with it, with advanced or honestly even simple pattern recognition, you can figure out that one of the things that's happening in these two paths, playing out in a lot of different areas, comes down to as simple as real, which means truth, versus synthetic, which means lie. Those on one side, or those going one direction, as the division becomes more clear and individual inertia starts to be more apparent, where there's not so much a middle ground of dabbling in truth and non-truth, but it gets to a point where the forces are so strong that you're either moving one way or the other. This acceleration is occurring. One path is organic, is faith-based, is heart-centered, and is life and truth. The other path is synthetic, egotistical, arrogant, deceptive. Oh, man. One path is being sold to the world that the things that man has been duped into building and believing in so much are somehow worthy of having so much arrogance about that humans think that they can outdo the work of the creator, which they never tapped into to begin with. And this is more about the other path that I'll get into in a second. Humans are being deceived into further, and this is way down the spiral already, but at this point, humans are being deceived into thinking the human body is just this flawed, weak thing, and the more parts you can replace on it with something synthetic and superior, the better. Now, when I say we're way down the spiral already, most people are at best probably 20 years behind, and many are hundreds or even thousands of years behind the awareness of how far down this path you already are, human society. There is a lot more of your body, for example, that's already synthetic than you're aware of. I'll give you guys a little example. I did some deeper research into looking into red light therapy because people are asking me about it all the time. And I tell them, well, I believe in the sun, the full spectrum, the real thing from the real creator. I'm not sure about that red light stuff, but I know that anytime you deviate from truth, there are consequences. That's about all I've had to say up to this point. But at this point, I can see something else. The anti-inflammatory effects that that particular isolated artificial light spectrum boasts as a selling point. For example, when you shine red light therapy, so-called, on your skin and you have less inflammation, what you don't understand is that the inflammation on your skin was your body fighting something that it needs to fight. And the so-called powers that be are undermining your body's ability to defend itself from what they're doing by every means possible. When that red light's on your skin, it actually causes your skin not to fight back against the nanotech that's crawling on the top of it. Okay? Anytime, and this is what us pattern recognizers would tell a world with very little pattern recognition in an attempt to help, anytime you're being sold something patented that is a synthetic ripoff of something real, you are being deceived by the beast. Now, if you actually apply what I just said and look around, you might be horrified to discover that you're completely immersed in a blue pill reality where everything's already synthetic. This is true. This is accurate. And you need to face it. I know from personal experience how easy it is to see evil every day and make excuses for it and let it undermine and destroy your life and put you through a meat grinder inside and out over and over. Something about those of us that aren't just pure evil, it's really hard for us to acknowledge the evil around us and in front of us and inside our bodies or anything else. And In one sense, that's noble, sure, because you wouldn't think to do such things, so you can't imagine the large scale of evil that's had humanity under its thumb for thousands of years. But on the other side, it's a problem. Yeshua said, "Be as shrewd as serpents and as innocent as doves." See, if you're only as innocent as doves, you just, no, no, nobody would do such a thing. You'll be put down. You'll be taken out. You'll be experimented on. You'll go along with evil. You'll never even see it or face it, even though it's funded by walking on your back, basically. But with the shrewdness of a serpent and the lack of the innocence of a dove, you become that very evil, taking advantage of everything. Hiding, ambush predator, swallowing things, suffocating things, stealing from things, and do it in the slipperiest, slimiest, and most deceptive lie in wait and hide kind of way possible. You need both. You need to put them together. This is why saying duality is about good versus evil is ignorant compared to understanding how to put pieces of duality together into a higher good. 1 plus 1 equals 3. Now, on the side of the spectrum some of us are on, and many don't realize it yet because they've barely begun their journey and they don't even know what's happening to them, is a movement towards that which is real. Now, let me take this further for you. Without saying too much, because some of what I'm about to allude to here gets very distractive for people, and then they miss the whole point of life, worrying about some of the details I'm about to go over. A long time ago, perhaps around 200,000 years or so, there was an intervention on this planet that changed whatever our ancestors, technically, I guess, used to be, to what a human is now. And these beings who said, "Let us make them in our image," to their own surprise, when they had engineered what is now called a human, or cross-engineered it, or bred with it, or however you want to see that, when they had spliced some of their DNA to something else and came up with a third organism, they were surprised and apparently horrified to find that human beings had a gift that they didn't have. They had actually helped bring something into being that had an ability to connect to and walk with the ultimate creator, which is so far above our pay grade as a little physical organism on Earth. This is not what they were trying to build. They were trying to build something in their own image that would be under their thumb, that would serve them, that would make them proud. It was very narcissistic if you think about it. And they were horrified to find that human beings had certain spiritual abilities that superseded their own. So they set out in a full spectrum attack on humanity to completely eliminate that, disconnect all awareness from it, which they've done a profoundly good job of with their infinite, I don't know, cracked out on demon levels of effort that they've been putting into this for thousands of years. They've done a pretty good job. So humans now don't access hardly any of what they're meant to be, what they can be, what someone like Yeshua made himself the roadmap to. He opened the way. He became the first fruit on the tree. That's what the way, the truth, and the life means. It means that this has now been done by one, which makes it much more possible to be done by others. And yet we haven't, for the most part. We haven't. We haven't superseded him. We have not bared greater gifts or greater fruit like he said we would. Why? Because something for thousands of years has been working very, 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 very hard to make sure humans don't discover what they really are and what they're capable of. This is why Earth is such a lowly, dark place, because humans give out in their ignorance and their spiritual weakness. Those who do, those who are bribed by the evil become its henchmen and are given positions of power, even though they lose their soul and just become a husk. Those who resist it, who don't have a vicious enough or deceitful enough or dishonest enough nature, basically just get discouraged to the point where they destroy themselves. That's an oversimplification of a lot of complex plots and schemes, but they basically break down to that in pattern. So one path is to awaken the DNA to become one with God and to become something that those who helped engineer what a human now is don't want you to ever discover. Because it's greater than they are, or at least that's how they see it in their jealousy and pettiness, and they've done incredibly wicked things to try to stop this from happening. And without divine intervention, there'll be no stopping it. The destruction of everything on this planet and the complete enslavement to a degree where there is no consciousness or life or soul anymore. But this isn't going to happen because there is intervention and there will be. Now, what is that intervention? Despite the ridiculous fairy tales you've been sold that keep you handcuffed, waiting for someone else to do it for you while you accept no responsibility for your own spiritual growth, the truth is, those of us that align enough and awaken enough and activate enough of the DNA because we care more about this than anything else, will become the vessels of the divine intervention. See, the hidden point of what it is to be human now is that you have what it actually takes to make it into a higher realm of reality that the beings who engineered you can't because of what they've become. Since long before humans even existed, the path they're on does not give them that capacity. And they hated and became so jealous of what a human was that they hated God for it. They hated the part of God they see in you even if you don't, and they've made it so you can't see it. So there's a simple principle you can apply here if you have the ears to hear, and you can start checking everything around you to find out just how blue-pilled and synthetic this reality you're living in is. Not the one around me right now. There's not a single blue pill in sight here. Nothing here lies. Everything here is real and has the living spirit in it. But everything you're being sold, even to put into your body, and a lot of things you didn't ask for that are being put into your body anyway, are to make sure that you are not part of that. That you are not organic, that you cannot contain the spirit of the living God, and that you cannot have the kind of consciousness that can tap directly into the truth of the Creator, which is the biggest hidden, burn them all alive, burn all the records, make sure nobody can ever figure this out that's occurred on this planet. Some of you know this. Some of you have connected to it inside of you. And those that have it, more will be given to them, and those who don't have it, even what little they have will be taken from them. Like Yeshua said, the two paths are so obvious and distinct to someone like myself. They're diametrically opposed. It's completely obvious. They're two different colors. They're two different sounds. They're opposite energies. But many people still lack the eyes to see or even be present enough to even realize that there is some kind of a dividing sword, or that there is some kind of deception. If you, I'm sorry, guys. I laugh because sometimes it's better than getting as upset as I will when facing things that I've had to face my whole life that others don't see. I've learned to laugh sometimes in order to not drop my immune system and my nervous system into destruction. I'm not actually laughing because anything about that is funny. I'm laughing because it's so beyond absurd that it's unthinkable that humans believe the things they do, and that they've allowed it to get this way. But out of compassion for those that there is hope for that can find some spark of the divine within you, understand that everything in the synthetic world of the beast is going to tell you you are wrong. They are going to threaten you. They are going to scare you. They are going to hurt you. They are going to lie to you. They're going to do anything they can. If you're more on the narcissistic, proud side, they'll bribe you. They'll give you all kinds of worldly things, worldly praise, worldly credit, wealth, whatever it takes to bribe you, to make you one of them so the darkness can completely infiltrate you and use your body like a husk with a human identity, even though you're not human anymore. They have made the idea of what a human is so distasteful and disturbing that no one even wants to be one. And that is because you don't know what a human really is. Yeshua himself showed you what a human really is. A human is a son or daughter of the actual infinite living spirit of creation that can have direct access to truth, and to whatever degree of faith you have, anything is possible. That's a real human. But that's a path of righteousness and truth. Anything synthetic in your mind, in your emotions, in your beliefs, in your physical form here that holds the DNA that makes these spiritual miracles possible in this realm, interrupts it. It's a break in the circuit. The The world is weaponized against you discovering what you are. You've been shown and you've been told, but he who showed and told you was tortured and blood sacrificed by satanic paganism, which then made a blood sacrifice religion to make sure you would never hear anything he said or see anything he did, because of the twist that was put on it that distorted it into something very, very different from what it is. Those with the eyes to see and the ears to hear will know this in their heart when they hear it. Because like he said, if you have it within you, more will be given. Truth, life, straight from the Creator. If you don't have it within you, even what little you do have, you're going to lose. This is what's happening. It's happening on all levels. I'm talking a little bit about the transhuman technocratic insanity that's been cooked up to take what little potential is left in most people to ever awaken to what they are and make it impossible, scrambling as hard as they can, because some of us are going the other way. Some of us are already doing things that the so-called powers that be have gone to great lengths to make sure never happen on this planet. We may not be able to speak openly about much of it, but those who know, know. Those who have a connection, have a connection. Cultivate the divine within you. Your light is more needed than ever. The two paths are very distinct now. If you can discover deep in your heart that you are one with the divine and you are meant for much greater things than the so-called human experience, live from that. A wellspring of spiritual energy, a wellspring of waters of life that bubble up and flow over and are infinite and unlimited, as is your immortal soul, unless you give it away or lose it, which is what the other path is. And it is the broad path. Cowards, weaklings, complacent people, they're not going to find this. They're not going to do what it takes, because it's not easy in this world. If you have any wisdom or true courage, apply it. Seek the divinity within you and shut out all the voices and energy, physical and non-physical, that is doing everything it can to stop you from doing so. Your individual sojourn to be one with God is more important than all the nasty, evil work funded by torture and slaughter and lies that all the corporations on this planet are fully engaged in right now. It's that powerful. That's why money doesn't matter. Worldly names don't matter. This is all a temporary test. This is all an opportunity that you're having your vision obscured from, to become a higher form of life, which you are called to do. There is something in a human. There is something in a human profoundly rare in the universe. It gives you a potential that is so great that darkness has gone to profound lengths on this particular planet to hurt it, to lie to it, and to stop it. This planet is particularly cruel and particularly deceptive because of that. Not nature. Nature responds to our collective beliefs in sort of a holographic, matrixy kind of a way. It's true. Nature would be a lot kinder if we were. That's part of the whole manifestation process. That's part of your divinity. Because humanity collectively holds distorted views about life, nature, themselves, creation, everything, nature operates now in a distorted way. But that's easily correctable. What's not correctable is when you let your nature be replaced by something that is not nature. This occurs at all levels, mind, body, and spirit. So hear it. Don't fear it. Hear it. Not trying to be corny. Although that's part of some Ghostbusters song, right? It's okay to have a little humor. Laughter's good medicine. But laughing at the suffering of others is soul cancer. So please understand when I chuckle about the absurdity of things, guys, I'm not laughing at anybody's suffering. I'm a profoundly empathetic person, and I know more about suffering than I'm ever going to try to testify to anybody. Something inspired me today. Well, I know what it is. It's not something. It's that which I pray to and listen to. It's that which lives, that which is life, the source, the infinite source, the eternal source, the only thing that tells me the truth, untwisted and undamaged in any form. And it can only do that on the inside of me, not in the writings passed down by corrupted men. It can only do that on the inside of you. Will you step up to that in a world that has done everything to terrify you? That you can't, that you shouldn't? Don't you dare. Don't you dare has been the message about this. The subconscious or superconscious massive message of your experience. And I'm talking to those of you that still have some of this light within. So there's a chance you have the ears to hear, to feel this, to know it's true. To know truth is to know truth. Then you can't be deceived by the infinite things on the outside of you saying, worship and believe this blindly, and see where that leads. Find out the hard way. To know is to know. This can only be done with love and sincerity and priority. Those, blessed are the pure in heart, because they will see God. And yet no man has seen God, because the real creator is formless, not whatever that deception was in the Old Testament of the Bible, telling people that it's thirsty for blood. Sacrifice your animals, sacrifice your children, sacrifice people, sacrifice heroes, blood sacrifice. It's beyond disgusting, and if you have any light in you, you know this. See it for what it is. The same way an empath will make excuses for a narcissist that abuses them their entire life, humanity, which tells me they're mostly decent, even the lot we have now, makes excuses for pure evil and abuse of every form of life. Even goes along with it because it's easier than trying to take responsibility for yourself and sovereignty of your own consciousness and your own quest to know the infinite creator more. That's too scary, right? It's too much. So you're going to let evil walk you into a dark pit instead. Or you're not, because you hear this and you have enough DNA still active and alive in you, with the actual handwriting, if you will, of the infinite creator, waiting for you to read more of it, to get past the first part of the first sentence. That'll be the divine intervention. That'll be the golden age. That'll be God walking in the temple among men, in the temple. Golden age on planet Earth. It's profoundly simple, and it's the biggest secret. The effort of things that cheat and lie, beyond the scope of anything you could reasonably understand without direct access to the Creator within your heart center. The scope of what you're up against is immeasurably large. The reason is because your true potential is far beyond anything any human has imagined so far. It is what it is. That's what this life is. It is the greatest opportunity, apparently, in this galaxy and possibly much of the known universe. That's you, human, if you still are. Much love.